You pointed out earlier that whenever someone who gets pregnant, not just women, because women aren't the only ones who can get pregnant. Men can get pregnant too. There are such thing as trans men. Trans men can get pregnant. So, no, they're not women, they're men. Trans men are men. But anyways, as I was saying before I was interrupted, you say they do not have to become a parent.
Is it so if someone's going to suffer, is it better just to kill them?
I'm not saying that. What? I'm not saying that.
Well, that's what you're saying. You're saying you don't want them to go to the foster care system because of all of these statistics showing how children in foster care suffer.
I'm saying you would rather this person put up their baby to have a terrible life and most likely end up.
So what's the more compassionate option?
To have an abortion.
To kill it.
Everyone, I have a video from Kristan where she faces a confrontation with a particular student, and the way it plays out and concludes is truly surprising. I'll be also sharing my perspective along the way. Let's dive into it and watch.
Good evening to you. My question for you is, even though you say that a baby's value matters, no matter if a woman was raped, no matter if they're financially not stable, in poverty, as you say, you still think it's okay for a woman who is suffering inside to carry a baby for 9 months and still have to take care of a child? That's what you're telling me?
Is that your question?
Yes, it is.
I don't think, no one in the pro-life movement advocates that a woman has to become a mother. We just advocate that she doesn't kill a child. So if a woman is a victim or survivor of sexual assault, she's not, and she becomes pregnant, no one is forcing her to become a parent, because we know becoming a parent is an 18-year commitment, financial, emotional commitment. That's why I brought up earlier in my presentation about safe haven laws. Every state has safe haven laws. That a woman can legally surrender her child with no repercussions at any, 3 days without any questions asked after the birth of her child. She can also make an adoption plan for free, no cost to her. What we believe in the pro-life movement is that she is strong enough to choose someone vulnerable and weaker than her and to be inconvenienced for 9 months. And it is not a convenience being pregnant. I've been pregnant 4 times. It's certainly not easy, but we actually believe she is strong enough to do that.
So even though she was a rape victim, you still think that the value of a child is okay?
Yeah, I would say
especially
our crimes
when
of
it
our
comes to her
fathers,
mental health?
the crimes of our fathers do not negate our value. And once again, what you just said with the mental health, that's also a slippery slope. Because none of us would say that if she gives birth to the child, she nobly chooses to parent her child, not place for adoption, not give her child over to the state with a safe haven law. None of us would say, well, at 2 years old, if she starts experiencing post-traumatic stress disorder again, she's justifying drowning her baby in the bathtub. None of us would say that was okay. We would say that's wrong, that just because a child is making a mother experience PTSD or having flashbacks to the crime that was committed against her, it doesn't justify an act of violence against that person. Next question.
I have no more questions, but I don't value your reasons. I will pray for you, though.
Thank you for asking a question.
How can you talk so long and not say anything? What leftists don't get is that respect is not a right. Respect is something that you earn to deserve. The misunderstanding often arises when individuals or groups insist on being respected for their views or positions without offering any real justification or meaningful contribution to the conversation. They may demand respect because of their status, identity, or perceived victimhood, rather than working to earn it through respect for others and through offering thoughtful, well-supported arguments. True respect, ladies and gentlemen, is reciprocal. It's not about entitlement. No, it's about building relationships based on mutual understanding, fairness, and the willingness to listen and engage with others' perspectives.
Hello. So you pointed out earlier that whenever someone who gets pregnant, not just women, because women aren't the only ones who can get pregnant. Men can get pregnant too. There are such thing as trans men. Trans men can get pregnant. So, no, they're not women, they're men. Trans men are men. But anyways, as I was saying before I was interrupted, you say they do not have to become a parent. But another way they could do it is foster system.
No.
This is just not, no, I'm not saying that's the
foster
only
system.
reason. I'm not saying this is the only reason. I'm saying this is a thing that they could do. But foster systems are severely broken
But that's not
in
the-
this age. I'm not saying you brought it
back up
no.
your definition, because that's not the point of foster care. Foster care isn't to give your child over to the system. It's about family reunification.
I'm saying that a lot of people give their children up to foster care or adoption agencies or wherever you're talking about. But a lot of people that go into the foster care system can attest it to being awful. You want to subject these children that just because their parents didn't want them, you want to put them into a system that doesn't care for them, that they're 4 times more likely to commit suicide, 7 times more likely to have depression, 2 times more likely to have learning disabilities and suffer from all of these different things. You want them to suffer through all this just because you're forcing this person to have a baby?
Is it so if someone's going to suffer, is it better just to kill them?
I'm not saying that. What? I'm not saying that.
Well, that's what you're saying. You're saying you don't want them to go to the foster
saying you
care
would
system
rather-
because of all of these statistics showing how children in foster care suffer.
I'm saying
right?
you would rather this person put up their baby to have a terrible life and most likely end
So
up
what's
just
the more compassionate option?
to have an abortion.
To kill it. Do you think there's anything less extreme you can prescribe to that situation than
Are you saying the
dismemberment?
foster care system is a viable option when multiple children die every day in there?
I'm saying when a woman is pregnant with a child that she does not want to parent, she's not placing into a foster
And
care
I'm saying
system.
not only women can get pregnant.
Oh, okay. So when a woman is pregnant and she doesn't want to become a mother, she can choose
I like
to
how you're
place
only
her
using she
child
pronouns,
with an adopted
women.
family.
I love that. That's
or
great.
she can choose to use the already accessible safe haven laws to give up her child to the state. Those children,
Yeah,
those
and the state doesn't
newborn
give a fuck
babies
about
do
kids.
not languish in foster care. They don't languish in foster care. Why? Because there's over 1 million
What about
couples
all
in
the
America
cases
today
where kids go
waiting-
to families that don't
they're
care about
waiting
them
to
and suffer
adopt
from domestic
newborns.
abuse?
When you're talking about foster care, we're talking about older children, not newborns. Older children whose parents have lost the right to parent them because of abuse, because of alcohol or drugs, because they've been imprisoned.
That's
We're
not
not
always the
talking
case.
about babies going into foster care. What I asked you is, do you think there's anything less extreme we can do as a society rather than saying, well, you may end up in foster care. We don't know. But you may end up in foster care. You may have a hard life. Therefore, I judge you, and I think it's okay for someone to dismember you. That, in fact,
I
is
think that it is
extremism.
the person who's pregnant. I think it is their choice whether they want to succumb their child that they might have into that life, or to give it the option to get rid of it so it doesn't have to suffer through life like that.
Do you think I was selfish for giving birth to my 2 children with cystic fibrosis because they're going to suffer?
I do. That was your choice to do that.
But my child's going to suffer. Is that selfish?
But it's
of me?
your choice.
So it's my choice whether or not my child suffers.
No, it's not. It's really
All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks for coming out tonight. I really appreciate it.
What are your pronouns?
They, them.
And what age should someone be allowed to start transitioning socially?
Socially, I guess whatever age they feel is acceptable for themselves.
So, for example, we've heard that an awful lot. So we're trying to understand at what age, for parents as well, guidance. A 4-year-old boy starts running around in girls' clothes or starts identifying as female. Is that okay?
I mean,
Or an 8-year-old, for example.
I guess if that's how they feel comfortable in their own skin, in their own body.
Then that would be fine.
Yeah.
And what about age of consent with surgery? At what age should they be allowed to transition medically, surgically?
That would depend on the individual as well as obviously if the family is accepting and welcoming of it themselves.
So if the family was welcoming of it at, let's say, 8 years old for the boy that I just gave an example of, and the boy at 8 said that he wanted to do it, would you be okay with that?
Well, at the age of 8, there's a lot of
Or
things
10.
coming into mind with that as well. Like you can get puberty blockers, like hormone blockers, if they obviously feel extremely uncomfortable going for that themselves, as well as
Got chest binders for girls, boys can tuck as well. So are you okay, would you say it was okay socially for that to be in front of children, those options? If you're saying it's about, a lot of people say it's the child's consent, but a child can't consent to an awful lot: tattoos, alcohol, drugs, and a lot of those things potentially they should never consent to. But if an 8 or a 10-year-old or an 11-year-old says, I feel this way and I want to do it, do you think the autonomy lies with the parent, or should it be on the child to decide with surgery?
With both, because obviously the child's obviously got to be open to those options, aware of those options, as well as the parent. There should be both matters of surgical. Say if something were to happen surgically, they've got to be aware of it, as well as the parents. I feel like it's a option for both of them.
Almost consultation with the child.
Yeah.
So with regards to men who are trans women, should they be allowed in women prisons?
Yes, I see no issue in it, as long as obviously it's a safe space for all.
And what about if they're, because there's different types of crimes you can commit, what if they're sex offenders? Should they be allowed in women's prisons? But they're a trans woman.
I feel like I'm not quite sure about that one, because obviously
It's a difficult one.
yeah, it's a very difficult one. I'd have to, because I have no say in, I can't really say anything towards that, because I've got no experience in that myself.
If you can't say about prison, which is, as you say, it's a difficult one, what about safe spaces for women?
When it comes to like bathrooms and everything, I'm completely fine with it. Say if something were to happen in the bathroom, I feel like it would happen regardless of like the gender. So like neutral bathrooms, I'm completely fine and everything with it. It's where I feel comfortable with my body as well, because I'm non-binary myself. But as long as it's a safe space for everyone, I see no issue in it.
So from your perspective, it would be if there was a crime committed, or if there was a problem, because obviously women have fought very hard for years to essentially be not segregated away from men, but have safe spaces away from men, and justifiably so as well. Yeah. So it would be reactive. It would be after the event. Would it? If that, heaven forbid, that happened, they were attacked, you'd say reactively you need to, because it could happen anyway with straight people. Is that right?
So
like, we want to keep women safe, don't we?
Yeah, obviously, yeah. But can you give me an example? Is that right?
Yeah, sure. So trans woman walks into a female bathroom, and there's females in there, and the female makes a complaint about it or goes to the press about it. We're seeing more and more of this happen. Who's in the right and who's in the wrong?
There isn't necessarily a right or a wrong in the situation. It could be from both. The trans woman could not feel included enough in that bathroom from the hostility, obviously, of the women. That could be, say they didn't like sharing the space. I feel like that should mean there's more toilets available in the sense of gender-neutral toilets, or just more private toilets, if any sense, if it makes the person comfortable.
So a third option.
Third option, yeah.
Okay, great. You said you're non-binary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm a bit confused on the subject myself. So can you define what a woman is?
I feel like there is no definition, like specific definition for a woman. Sorry, I'm getting the phone call.
That's all right, no worries at all. You've been amazing. We'll leave it there. Thank you so much.
In John 15, verse 18, Jesus reminded us, if the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first. This is a powerful reminder that we are never alone in facing rejection or persecution for standing up for what is right. Yeah, Jesus experienced hatred, opposition because of the truth that he shared. Yes, he did. And as his followers, we too may face similar challenges. But however, we should not be discouraged. No, instead, we need to find comfort in knowing that we are walking in his footsteps. Literally. To conclude, sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ is a profoundly positive endeavor that changes lives. It promotes love, justice, hope, truth, and aligns with God's command. It provides eternal meaning and deep joy to all those who embrace it. And ultimately, it stands as the greatest gift to humanity, creating lasting impact in the lives of individuals and entire communities, and reflecting God's heart in everything that it touches. So, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to click on the next one, and don't forget to like, to comment, and to subscribe. I'll see you again next time. Bye bye for now.